Coming up, tuition continues to increase, while many departments are facing budget cuts. We'll tell you why.
I'm Tiffany Justice, and coming up, I'll tell you about a new use for your U-card.
And I'm Matt Coma here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California. We'll have full highlights and post-game coverage from the Utes' first ever Pac-12 game against USC. Plus, the 10th edition of the Must Bus this year will show you how this year's trip differs from those in the past. All these stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Informing you. News produced by students, for students. Newsbreak. Together, we're making a difference.
Hello, and welcome to a new semester of Newsbreak. I'm Chelsea Hansen.
And I'm Tanner Hall. Since joining the Pac-12, the U has been getting more funds, but academic departments are still on a budget cut. Matthew Williams went straight to the U's Department of Budget to find out why.
Over the past 2 years, tuition has increased by 17.8%. With a jump like that, you wouldn't expect to hear your professors talking about budget cuts. If tuition goes up, shouldn't the budget have more money?
We are a state-supported school, so we get a large amount of money from the state appropriations, the state of Utah, and then we have tuition and fees, and we mix both of those pieces together, and then we allocate that money out to each of the departments.
Between 2004 and 2007, state appropriations increased from $227 to $269 million. But since 2009, the state has cut the money given to higher education by 12.5%. Philosophy Department Chair Stephen Downs says that many of faculty feel underpaid and may look for opportunities at other universities. He also says their next round of retirements will likely occur without replacement. Couldn't the blow be softened by the Utes joining the Pac-12? The university will receive $21 million a year in television revenue alone.
It won't impact the academic side of the university directly. Indirectly, things will be happening, but there's no allocation of that extra funding straight to academics.
The decrease in budget means cutting back on the little things. Different departments have gone to lengths such as not being able to print syllabi to getting rid of faculty voicemails. Either way, less money equals less resources. For Newsbreak, I'm Matthew Williams reporting.
And the U was originally told by the 2011 legislative session to prepare for a 7% budget cut. However, the final cut was reduced down to a 2%. Impact of a budget cut will vary across campus.
And because of the budget cut, the university will have to find another source of funding, which means students will be paying more for their education as tuition increased once again. Charles Culbreth spoke directly to the students.
When the state of Utah closed its legislative session in 2009, the funding for the University of Utah was cut $45 million. $22 million in federal stimulus helped to ease the blow, but still facing a $23 million deficit, the U turned to the students.
This is my 5th semester. I think my first semester tuition was right around $2,000 for 12 credits, and now I'm about $3,300.
Probably about $1,800 for 14 to 16 credits. This semester taking 12 credits and it was $3,200.
With the rising tuition costs, what is one payment option students can turn to?
The only way I can pay for tuition is with student loans. So 100% of it's by student loans.
In 2009-2010, students taking 15 credits were spending $5,800 in-state and $18,300 for out-of-state. This year, those costs rose to $6,350 for in-state and $20,080 for out-of-state.
I don't know, you don't really notice it too much because it's not huge jumps, but I mean, if you look comparatively for different years, then you start noticing, wow, it really is going up a lot.
Despite rising costs, tuition is an inevitable fact for college students. Reporting for Newsbreak, this is Charles Culver.
And tuition doesn't include textbooks. A recent survey done by the U.S. Public Interest Research Group found 7 out of 10 college students actually don't purchase textbooks because of their high prices. Budget cuts ultimately hurt the students.
Last year, the U had $450 million in research funding. This year, the number dropped to $30 million, resulting in a total of $410 million. But despite what it may seem like, the U is trying to get more research funds for academics. Lexi Jones has more on this story.
The Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, housed within the Office of Undergraduate Studies, gives students the opportunity to participate, execute, and publish creative and scientific research projects.
UROP is our acronym, and what UROP does, it pays students to work one-on-one with a faculty member in any discipline. So not just the sciences, that includes fine arts, humanities, social sciences. We have students from all over the campus.
I work with Dr. Abel and Hinata, and we are studying PGC1 alpha. It's a co-activator in the heart.
We are research extensive here at the University of Utah. So we've always been at the top level in the country in receiving research dollars.
In the first semester, students receive $1,200 paid out at $10 an hour. That's 120 hours of work. They may renew for a second semester of funding, and that's 60 hours for $600. Last year, 225 students received a UOP grant.
You know, it'll open a lot of doors in terms of being able to network and finding opportunities out there, because it turns out there's a lot of research opportunity on campus, but it's hard to find them all.
To qualify for UROP, students must be full-time, have a cumulative GPA minimum of 3.0, and be connected to a faculty member. This is Lexi Jones, reporting for Newsbreak.
And the deadline for UROP's assistantship applications is Thursday, November 17th. For more information on how you can apply and how to get involved, visit www.urop.utah.edu.
All this talk about the Pac-12 and the funding it's bringing in for the U, or not bringing in, but we haven't really said anything about our actual Utes.
No, we haven't, Chelsea. Well, last Saturday, the Utes kicked off the inaugural Pac-12 season against the USC Trojans in Los Angeles. Matt Coma is actually in LA to break down the game for us in today's sports update. Matt?
Thanks, guys. Well, it was a very close game here in the Coliseum. Utah taking on USC in the conference's first ever game in Pac-12 history. We'll get to the highlights and post-game coverage in just a minute, but first, thousands of Utah fans came down to support their Utes here at the Coliseum. 138 of them were students and came down via the Must Bus. Now, this is the 10th time that the U has put on the Must Bus for students, but what does it actually take for the school to put it on? Before the bus left on Thursday, I went to find out. This year's trip of the Must Bus to Los Angeles marks the 10th time the Alumni Association has put on the annual trip for Utah students to see the Utes play at a marquee location on their schedule. 138 students made the trip this year in hopes of getting some sun and hopefully a Utah win in the LA Coliseum. Although the U has sent out the bus 10 times now, this year's trip was a little different than ones in the past.
This one had a lot more quirks, so to say, on it. You know, so many things you have to arrange. You arrange the buses about 6 months in advance. You have to arrange game tickets. You have to get a hotel, finding one that's convenient and safe in Los Angeles.
Included in this year's bus was the bus ride, hotel, game tickets, and an invitation to the tailgate party outside the stadium hosted by the Alumni Association. With all these things going on for students, where does the money come from? University Credit Union pays about 1/3 of the expenses for the trip every year. The other 2/3 of the money is paid by the students themselves, which totals $250 per student. There actually is a second Must Bus heading to San Francisco in a couple of weeks when the Utes take on Cal over at Pac-Bell Park. You can register for that on the Alumni's website in the next couple of weeks. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have full highlights and post-game coverage from the dramatic loss for the Utes here at the Coliseum. That's all coming up after the break. Welcome back to Newsbreak. Well, as you already know, it was a very dramatic and close game here in the Coliseum with Utah taking on USC in the Pac-12's first ever conference game in the conference's history. Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott on hand before the game to present the commemorative game ball signed by all 12 Pac-12 coaches that was donated to the 9/11 memorial back over the weekend. Jump to the second quarter, Utah down 10-0 to USC when Jordan Wynn finds Devontae Christopher for the score. That would make it 10-7 USC. But the Trojans would have an answer in the third. Matt Barkley gets it to Xavier Grimble for the score, and it's now 17-7. Utes would make a run of their own. Wynn drops it off to Reggie Dunn, and he's got some space. He'll get it all the way down to the 1 where John White would punch it in and make it 17-14 USC. Last chance for Utah in the fourth quarter. Wynn finds Drez Anderson across the middle with the nice catch for the first down. Utes would get it to the 24-yard line and try to force overtime, but the kick is blocked and returns 68 yards for the touchdown, and the Utes will lose their first Pac-12 game by a score of 23-14. After the game, the players talked about how bad they wanted to win that game in the Coliseum.
There's no moral victory here. I mean, we don't look at this as, we want to see if we can play SC to 17-14. We want to beat SC. We want to come out here and show these guys what we're about.
This hurts so much. This kills us. It's heartbreaking. We wanted this game so bad. We want to show the Pac-12 that this we can do this. We can conquer this conference, and we still can, but this is just a heartbreaking loss.
They'll have to take what they can learn from this week's game and move towards BYU on Saturday at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Reporting from the Los Angeles Coliseum in Los Angeles, California, I'm Matt Coma reporting for Newsbreak.
Saturday's game against BYU starts at 7:30 p.m. and if you didn't get tickets, you can still watch the game on ESPN2.
Well, the U is closing the curtains on one of Salt Lake's best deals in live entertainment. This means no more free concert viewings from the hillside above Red Butte venue. Red Butte Gardens is closing off the hillside right behind the amphitheater. The hillside has been a popular spot for people to hear their favorite artists while socializing with other concert goers, and all without paying admissions. Officials are worried about fire hazards after a fire burned 80 acres just south of the venue. Concert promoters are also irritated about free music viewing at Red Butte. The University of Utah plans on rehabilitating vegetation on the hillside by planting trees and bushes. A fence will be built around the hillside to detract people from watching on top of the hill. Starting in 2012, all concert goers of Red Butte Gardens will have to pay to see the concerts. Admission prices at the venue vary from $35 to $70. There are currently signs along the main access points of the hillside notifying free concert goers of the change. And in addition to all the construction the U currently has going on, new dorms for the students are also being built. Angela Worley has more on the story.
With budget cuts and tuition getting raised, it might not be a bad idea to cut down on rent as students. The University of Utah offers on-campus and downtown living, with downtown living starting at $314 a month and resident halls starting at $1,715 for this fall semester.
We're seeing an increase in both international and out-of-state students, and that population tends to need/require housing at a greater percentage rate than do in-state students or local Salt Lake City. Applications this year as a whole are up 11%. That's an increase of 337. We make this public knowledge as we do get preference on our wait list to folks who are out of state or international. And I think we're attracting, like I mentioned earlier, a lot more international and out-of-state students who have a greater demand for housing. So I think that's, again, why we see the overall numbers of people applying for housing going up, which for us is good news, being we are opening a new building in 2012 in the fall for our honors students. We'll add about 314 new beds on campus, and so that's going to help us accommodate greater numbers in the future.
Students can access an application through the University of Utah website. So in order to avoid the long waiting list and start enjoying some delicious food, make sure you get your applications in as quickly as possible. This is Angela Worley reporting for Newsbreak.
The U currently has approximately 2,400 dorms. There are currently 152 students on the dorms waiting list. Students can expect to move into the new dorms in fall of 2012. But coming up sooner is Red Fest. It's been a week full of activities across campus. Red Fest 2011 kicked off with comedian Michael Ian Black as one of the highlights this past Tuesday, September 13th in the Union Ballroom. Red Fest also was able to bring in that of all the students wanted, a popular band, Cobra Starship. Devin Ritchie, a member of the presenter's office, is looking forward to what they have put together. ASUU not only controls who performs, but they also control all of the funds.
On Friday, we have Red Fest. Doors open at 6. Tickets, for students, everything is absolutely free. So if you have your UID, you're going to be able to get into all of these. Pick up tickets first, but if you have tickets, they're going to be free and you can get into everything. Red Fest is funded through student fees. Presenter's office gets something like 25% of what goes to ASUU, which itself is only a fraction of student fees.
Cobra Starship's song You Make Me Feel is number 8 on the Billboard charts right now, so that should be a fun show. And this year's Red Fest concert will be on September 16th. Apart from Michael Ian Black and Cobra Starship, there was also the Arts Bash that took place last Wednesday. And speaking of the Arts Bash, what can you tell us about it, Tiffany? It's new this year, right?
Yep, that's right. The Arts Bash was not only the kickoff for Red Fest, but it was also the promotional event for the new Arts Pass. The U has raised student fees once again, but this increase may be worth it. The fee goes towards the new U in the Arts Arts Pass, which is actually your UID. Here on Library Plaza is a banner to promote the new U in the Arts Arts Pass. The new pass will now allow students free admission to all College of Fine Arts events. But due to the creation of the Art Pass, all students' fine art fees has been increased from $2.60 to $8 to subsidize free tickets for all students. But this increase pales in comparison to other student fees. Sarah Pickett, Public Relations Associate for the College of Fine Arts, feels that this fee was minimal.
It's pretty impressive that we were able to pass this initiative with a pretty minimal amount of money from the student body so that we could open it up for over 300 events a year.
The Hayes Christensen Theater, located inside the Department of Modern Dance, puts on 7 performances each year. Students from all fields of study will now be able to attend these concerts for free. Here, student performers practice technique in their ballet class. Associate Professor of Ballet and Modern Dance, Cherie Lane, speaks of the increase in the fine arts fee and students who may not be in favor of it.
I think they have to measure what they're getting back from that fee increase.
Sarah Pickett views the Art Pass as a means for all students to experience the arts.
The U in the Arts Pass tries to bring students from campus and take them into our theaters, into our galleries, into our spaces, and let them have that visceral experience of what it is to see art, to be an audience member, to hear Mozart and be moved by that.
More about the Arts Pass, you can visit the College of Fine Arts website at www.finearts.utah.edu.
And for a recap of this episode of Newsbreak and those to come, you can visit www.newsbreak.utah.edu.
And that does it here for this week's edition of Newsbreak, the show by students for students. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.